What's up, everyone? This is Ken Pescator from the Lured Up Podcast and Pokemon Professor Network. I want to welcome you to the second preview episode of StadiumCast, a Pokemon Go PvP podcast developed by Go Stadium. And also, a huge shout out to King and all the rest of the competitors from the first ever Pokemon Go PvP Invitational. I watched the entire stream. Nick and Cybertron were awesome. It was amazing seeing Pokemon Go PvP on the stage with that level of production. It was wild. But without further ado, I present a bonus episode of StadiumCast, Twilight Talk.
With me today, I have Gotts from Go Stadium, Twastell, also from Go Stadium, and very cool guy Noah. We're going to be uncuffed, unchained, talking about the Twilight revisited Mirror Cup meta. So, welcome everybody. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Yeah,
doing well.
So Twilight, definitely a lot of controversial movesets going on. A lot of favorite picks this time around. I remember in the early days we had like a lot of heated debates over certain Twilight picks, right? Gotts?
Trying to remember some of the old ones that people really wanted to make good.
They were really like adamant about double shielding
one.
Too.
Yeah,
Swallow was one that like everyone was like, "Oh, it's good and it's cheap and like it has Ice Beam and like it's super great," and like it wasn't that good.
I feel like Swallow was almost like the face of Twilight for a bit for some people, like where it was just like everyone was going off on it at the very beginning.
That was definitely a Reddit mon.
Yeah.
Which one? Swallow?
Swallow.
Yeah. Well, it definitely swallowed a lot, but it didn't win that much, I think.
Well, and then we had that early Kanto Grimer hype that died out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well, that I was
on K Grimer had matchups that it kind of won. Swallow didn't do anything. It just died slowly. It died.
You think slowly? I think that's not a. Oh, Swallow died slowly. Yeah.
Yeah, Swallow's bulky. Like, it has the right stat spread to be good.
It had moves, though.
It just, yeah.
Yeah, K Grimes.
Especially for Twilight.
K Grimes is the one that died fast, always.
Yeah. But it hit really hard, and it had the double bomb moveset.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was appealing because it was the only mon in the whole entire meta that had ground, fast, and charge moves.
Yeah.
So it had like a little bit of a niche, but like we definitely overhyped it early on, and then it died out pretty quick after that as people realized it wasn't that amazing or that essential.
And it's just tough to like justify putting that much resources into something that's going to be good in one cup.
Yeah. I've kind of felt a similar thing with all these mons that are like a first stage evolution that have to be maxed. Is like they get some early hype and then they kind of die out. Like Jungle, there was like a lot of early hype for like Slowpoke and Execute, and then like by the end of the cup, like no one was really using it.
Was that Rainbow?
I meant Rainbow, yeah.
Man, I feel sorry for the people that invested in like Grimes or Execute or something like really early on based on our hype trains.
And then Yanma got the hype train for Jungle.
Did he really?
A little bit early on.
Yeah.
So like that's another one where it got hyped early and then fizzled out. So I don't know. It just kind of seems to be a pattern where it's like early on these like first stages that have to be maxed, like get all this hype of like, oh, they're real good, and then like we dig a little deeper and they're not that great, and really not worth the resources, where there's other comparable if not better options that are a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
it seems like a lot of like the first stage
Yanma's at least. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it seems like a lot of the first stage guys have like pretty decent movesets for PvP, like quicker, faster, harder hitting moves kind of thing. So that I think maybe why. Like I know that's definitely why Grimer got big. I guess maybe Execute and Slowpoke were just kind of the two that had confusion and could beat Quagsire, I think, or
Quagsire and Venusaur.
Yeah.
They were the two walls
Yeah, even
to
after they
that
were
supposedly unbeatable core.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
That turned out Quagsire wasn't actually that threatening, but it was still threatening.
well, and that's the other thing I think I've come to realize through some cups is like it starts off day one with these like unbeatable cores. Like for Rainbow, it was Quagsire, Venusaur. Then we had like the Bastiodon, Lucario in Kingdom. And like it seems like, oh, these two mons are super meta dominant. Like you have to find something that beats both. And then like by the time like the meta flushes out, a lot of times you'll see, in a team of 3, you might not even bring both of them, because it ends up being running some of their counters and then like counters to that. And so, I think Vigoroth is really the only like super meta central mon to date. Well, I guess Skarmory and Metacham and Boulder, but that you see like all the time in teams of 3, versus in other metas like the Jungle and Kingdom, for example. Those mons are quite good in the meta, but you don't always see them because sometimes you're running counters to that, and then you're running counters to that counter and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Twilight doesn't really have any of those at all. Even narrowing down.
Twilight has individual cores.
Yeah,
but no.
Because the thing is, the first Twilight, Toxicroak was real meta central. But this time around, you don't even need to run Toxicroak. Because we have charm users that give you pretty similar coverage.
Oh, that and what Toxicroak kills, which is the darks. You can pick up dark coverage with other darks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still good. I think it's still the best dark counter out there. But it's definitely not as metacentric, especially with Haunter being around now. And Venomoth has picked up a lot compared to the first go around.
Yeah, I'm really liking Venomoth. So like I said, this is just going to be kind of informal discussion. But if we can get anything for today, it would super help me and Tristen here developing from the infographic. If we could narrow down the meta list to something reasonable that could fit on one piece of paper. Right now we have the charm users, which kind of fit in a little bit all into one group with Wigglytuff, Clefable, and Togekiss. Any other charm users that you would add, or potentially of those 3 you would axe one of them?
I mean, if you're axing one, it would probably be Togekiss, I would think.
Really?
But
Togekiss?
Togekiss looks so bad, though.
Why?
Like Clefable at least has some play, but Togekiss just looks really bad.
The only thing Togekiss really has going for it is a little bit of slightly cheap moves. But besides that, the matchup spread overall seems to be worse. And the flying typing isn't really helping it much either, because now it's weak to Ice Beam from a Azumarill, for example.
Yeah. Although that ancient power is certainly helping it in some matchups, like Venomoth, for example, right?
Yeah, but you beat Venomoth even with Poison Fang. Or no, you lose that completely. There's just no way you get there.
Right.
Poison Fang comes out so fast that you die.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that's helping you against the Venomoth is if you kill something else, like, say, a Dark type with just Charm, and then the Venomoth has no shields, and you unload an Ancient Power on a no-shielded Venomoth in the back.
Yeah.
But, that's kind of a niche situation.
I suppose you might live long enough if you have a shield.
Right, if you're at a shield advantage with Togekiss.
Yeah, something like that.
And if you can land an ancient power with energy or something. Yeah, but I guess the charm users as a category, they don't really stray too much away from each other, so ultimately it's not a huge win or loss for the graphic to drop Kiss. Azu and Toxicroak are pretty safe for this meta, I think. I expect to see quite a lot of them for next month, right?
I mean, Azu seems in a really good spot. It's just a solid mon overall. And besides like Quillfish and Tentacruel, nothing walls it. In the first Twilight, I used Azu as a safe switch quite often. And I think, unless they're running, the Tentacruel or the Quillfish, Azu can function as a safe swap again. And it's just, has generally decent matchups across the board, even the losing matchups aren't too terrible for the most part. And its coverage is pretty unique in that nothing else really has that similar of coverage.
Right.
Oh, even versus Quillfish, Azu isn't the worst.
Yeah.
It loses that fight, but barely, and it's got 50 energy left.
Oh,
really
right, because I forgot Quillfish is running Water Gun as a fast move.
And its poison move is...
So the only thing that hard walls Azu is Tentacruel and Venusaur.
Well, Venusaur definitely can't take an Ice Beam. I mean, we've all been on the receiving end.
It can take one.
Yeah, but not
but
kindly.
The point is like...
But not very well.
Right, yeah, because my point is like, even if they have Venusaur and you have to like swap to Azu, and they counter swap to Venusaur, you're either chunking it down with an Ice Beam or you're burning a shield. And that's not too bad of a scenario to be in. Like if you have a bad lead, then you have to swap.
Yeah, so like Tentacruel is the only thing that can just ignore all of Azu's charge moves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so bulky, and it just takes the Ice Beam or the Play Rough. It just doesn't care.
Yeah. And it has that poison. What is it? Is it Poison Jab? It's the fast move.
Yeah,
that's super effective, and so it can
jab.
kind of just whittle Azu down slowly with that Poison Jab.
Get in some acid sprays and just lower its bulk a little bit.
I haven't really enjoyed acid spray on Tentacruel. I really like Sludge Wave. I've been playing a bit of Tentacruel, and
I think you cut out a little bit there, but you're saying Sludge Wave, Hydro Pump, perhaps on Tentacruel? Rely on Poison Jabs, really?
Sorry.
Can you guys hear him okay? Or
you, AJ, but I can't hear Gots. But I'm assuming that's what he was going for.
He just got so excited about Tentacruel that he had to.
It just seems odd to me because I just assumed that Tentacruel would be better with Acid Spray, as it's a lower charge move. It allows it to bait a little bit better, and you have that option to like lower the defense. And some matchups you can literally just you only need to use one Acid Spray in a one shield matchup, and either they let it go through and you kill them off, or they shield it and you kill them off with just the Poison Jabs after.
Yeah, I guess you really miss out against
I might try it, but...
the Venusaur matchup. Oh, I can hear you now, Gots.
Okay. I moved my phone closer.
Oh, nice. So you haven't tried it, or you have?
I've done Sludge Wave, and I've really liked Sludge Wave so far.
Are you restricted as a closer?
If I get some spare TMs. I have like 20 TMs right now, so I could probably try to get it.
20.
But do you find that like you're restricted to either being a closer or just a safe switch, or like a counter switch to Azu?
I've definitely used it as a counter switch to Azu. I've used it as a counter switch to Frostlass.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've played a few of those. I've counter switched it into a few other random ones.
Versus Frostlass, do you have to land a Hydro Pump against Frostlass though?
Yeah.
Or is Frostlass glassy enough
in a
that
one
you can
shield?
land a Sludge Wave?
Yeah.
I think you can double Sludge Wave in the one shield, but unshielded you have to Hydro Pump.
Yeah, you can double Sludge Wave and beat Frostlass.
Interesting. Okay.
Frostlass.
Yeah, Sludge Wave doesn't hit Frostlass very hard, but Frostlass is weak defensively.
It's true.
You basically just have to hit one charge move.
if they're unshielded, go for the Hydro Pump.
Oh, definitely.
Because one Sludge Wave doesn't do enough damage. Yeah. Because it's resisted damage the whole way through Poison Jab and Sludge Wave. And that's where I don't like Acid Spray. Sometimes I get in that position where I just need the faster Sludge Wave to KO to pick things off. And Acid Spray wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but maybe if I switch to Acid Spray, I could use Tentacruel more in the front rather than the back lines.
Now,
but it's such a strong closer that I kind of just like it in that closer.
it really does thrive in that position, and I think a lot of people are going to be less inclined to shield against Tentacruel now because of the possibility of an Acid Spray. If you get it,
definitely.
yeah.
I've stuck a few Sludge Waves through.
Yeah.
Just because people expect
Right, and
Acid
especially
Spray.
because Sludge Wave is lower energy than Hydro Pump, right? So if you fire it off before you even have Hydro Pump energy, they'll be like, oh, that's definitely an Acid Spray.
Oh, it's an Acid Spray. It's clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of Acid Spray, what do you guys think of it on Quillfish? Have you messed around with it at all?
That's what I have on it right now, and
I've run it on Muck.
Okay.
And I don't like it. The Umbreon matchup is a loss in the one shield with Acid Spray.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a deal breaker for me because Muck is supposed to deal with the Mono Darks. And without Sludge Wave, it doesn't.
Oh, really? I thought from Nightmare that Muck won anyways, but maybe I'm just remembering that wrong.
It's probably an IV
Okay.
thing. And my IVs on my Muck are bad.
Most people have bad IV Mucks. I think that's one that you have to look a little more carefully into the Sims for, because I think the Sims for Muck, like the default IVs, are better IVs than a lot of people have, because you do have to trade for it and roll it under 1500, and so I think
it's the default Muck IVs are 12, 13, 13, which is feasible from a hatch,
right?
But it's 19.5. So you can't get it that low from a hatch.
Okay. Interesting.
So you'd have to trade it. I mean, you have to trade Mucks anyways. They don't go low enough from a hatch.
Yeah.
10, 10, 10.
Linkata, I mean, Noah, you said you had Acid Spray on Quill?
yeah, I kind of for the because I just don't have the charge TMs, or I just don't want to play the lottery for a Quillfish right now. But yeah, like I was actually playing GOTS yesterday or the day before or something with Acid Spray on it, and I'd prefer Sludge Bomb, I think. Although
it's Sludge Wave, I think.
Or Sludge Wave, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, Sludge Wave.
Get it right.
Yeah.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. Poison move.
One, yeah. But I think it did help me out, like in some scenarios when I was just kind of on my deathbed and just send something out.
Oh, definitely. There were a few times I died early after taking an Acid Spray Tentacle.
Yeah, like I think there was like an occasion where like I Aqua Tailed after and it KO'd, and it wouldn't have if I didn't have that. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure how like actually feasible. I know that like the A's-Do matchup especially gets a lot sketchier with Acid Spray, whereas Sludge Wave you don't really have to like bait or anything. You can just double Sludge Wave. But
yeah, I think the thing you have to realize.
The nice thing about Acid Spray.
I was gonna say the thing you have to realize that like throws me off sometimes is the fact that Quillfish is running Water Gun as a fast move.
Yeah.
Which is different from like Tentacruel or even a Alolan Muck, where in those matchups against like Azu and the fairies with like Tentacruel or Alolan Muck, if you Acid Spray, like either they let it through and you get some super effective poison damage, or even if they block it, either way, their defense is lowered and now your poison jabs are doing more damage. But with Quillfish, because it's running Water Gun, it's a bit different because Water Gun's doing only neutral to most fairies and not very effective to Azu.
Yeah. Is
right, but on the rest of the meta, that Water Gun damage will rack up a lot.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because I mean the nice thing about fast moves like that, when they're really quick, the more damage you can get on them, the more effective they are. So a -2 defense on something, switching into Quillfish, if they're a late switcher, if you have some energy on you'll just start chunking their health with Water Gun. And that's really nice.
That's a good point.
But the problem is you sacrifice that immediate power of Sludge Wave. And definitely versus Ozzy, you probably miss it. I think you still win, but it's a lot iffier fight.
I wonder if we'll see any Acid Spray Sludge Wave variants. Because
I doubt it. Aquatail is so good, though.
It is so good, but you know what? Hear me out, you guys, because Victory Bell, for example, there's a guy running in Jungle. He was running Razor Leaf, Sludge Bomb, Acid Spray, and so like the principle was, well, it definitely surprised a lot of Venusaurs because in round 1 you would use Acid Spray. Round 2, they would almost never shield because they were expecting Leaf Blade or Acid Spray, and you got the Sludge Bomb in, so it was like a solid round 2 upset that a lot of Venusaurs would not be shielding that matchup, and you could steal a win there.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely that psychological effect that would give it an advantage, but Aquatail's just so good in this meta because it's super spammy. It's super spammy, and it lets you hit basically everything besides Azu. I guess Azu, Grass, and Tentacruel. Besides those, you're hitting everything for neutral.
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. Aquatail is great, but like, if you saw an Acid Spray coming in the round 1, right, and you didn't see Aquatail for whatever reason, you'd still assume Acid Spray Aquatail in round 2, right?
Probably.
So this is like, this is where the strategy would kind of like you would be definitely sacrificing matchups, but
yeah, I mean you're it's like
the problem is how many matchups.
Yeah, because it just becomes a little gimmicky because now you have only poison charge moves, meaning if you're up against a poison type, you can't hit them for even neutral with your charge moves. You're definitely going to be sacrificing that T-Tar matchup, I believe, which is one of the biggest selling points behind Quillfish, is the fact that it can beat T-Tar.
Fair, but again, hear me out on the T-Tar because you got the water gun damage racking up an insane amount. And when they shoot out that Acid Spray, T-Tar is probably going to shield because it's expecting that Aquatail instead, right? Okay,
I'm just going to point something out. No charge attack matters in the T-Tar fight.
What do you mean?
You could just water.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so if you Acid Spray...
it doesn't matter what you do, charge attack. You don't even need the Acid Spray, actually. Acid Spray would be a waste of energy.
I guess it would.
Because it dies in 2 water guns after Acid Spray.
I thought you needed a charge move.
Oh, no, you just water gun that fight.
So I guess the reasoning why I think that the Quillfish and Victory Bell are different is for most of Quillfish's matchups, it's not just like water gun isn't going to cut it. Whereas like Victory Bell, most of its winning matchups, or the way that it even gets to Leaf Blade, is basically by cutting through something that is weak to it, like a water or ground or whatever. And then kind of a charge move is sort of the cherry on top at the very end kind of thing. Like you don't really win a matchup with Victory Bell.
Like I agree with that.
Using a charge move. Whereas Aquatail, you're going to struggle a lot against like the Poison Darks or anything like someone already said, basically anything with poison where poison is going to be not very effective. You're kind of losing those matchups where you're not going to be able to just power through with water gun except for maybe Tyranitar, but
you lose completely to Golbat without Aquatail.
Yeah.
Yep. That would definitely be a matchup that you sacrifice, but
there's no chance in winning that fight.
I don't think that there's a lot of like you're saying, even if they do shield Acid Spray, I don't know if you'll even really get to another charge move then after that, even if like you might be able to whittle it down with water gun, but by then they're probably going to get 2 off. So
yeah, and
no, a lot of fights you're just getting
exactly
one charge move.
That's fair.
Without Aquatail because it's so slow.
I don't know. We'll see if anybody uses it.
I mean,
maybe
I'm sure that someone can use it and pull it off. Like, I don't think it's out of consideration. But
It's definitely not meta. That's not what I'm arguing.
No. I'm not. I know you're not arguing it's meta, but I don't know. I just feel like it's a little less viable than the Victory Bell thing because, like Noah was saying,
Razor Leaf was
like Noah was saying, like the bulk of what Victory Bell does is coming from the Razor Leaf because it's hard hitting, but it's slow. But when you just have a water gun, you definitely need charge moves to supplement what you're doing.
Maybe if it was waterfall or something.
Yep.
Maybe if it had waterfall, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Waterfall would need better energy gain.
Yeah, I don't even know how good waterfall is. I just know it's kind of similar.
It's okay.
Isn't it worse than Dragon Tail, or is it a Dragon Tail clone?
I believe it's worse than
man,
Dragon
for
Tail.
some reason I think it was closer to Razor Leaf than Dragon Tail. But, Dragon Tail.
No, I think Razor Leaf is far and away the hardest hitting, right?
Yeah.
Or is Bite a little bit better?
No.
Charm is
No. Razor Leaf is harder hitting. Razor Leaf is harder hitting. Razor Leaf and Charm have the same energy gain per turn, but Razor Leaf has better damage per turn. The reason it seems like Charm is harder hitting is because there's only 3 types that resist Fairy, and there's 6 or 7 or 8 types that resist Grass, as well as right now in the game there's no mons that double resist Fairy, but there's quite a few mons that double resist Grass. So for that reason, it seems like Charm hits harder because it has neutral coverage against a wide range of the meta, whereas Razor Leaf is resisted quite more commonly.
Yeah, 5.33 damage per turn and 2 energy per turn on Charm. Razor Leaf is 5.5 damage per turn, 2 energy per turn. And then Bite is trash. It's 4 damage per turn, 2 energy per turn. Poor Bite.
Dragon Tail does 10 energy per hit. Waterfall does 8.
Yeah.
Waterfall hits a bit harder than Dragon Tail does. So but the energy is what kills.
2.66.
Yeah,
that's why.
I don't think there's ever been a meta Pokemon that has waterfall, so that could be a clue that it's not that good.
No.
Kingdra was really close.
No, that's why
right?
Kyogre sucks at Master League.
Wasn't Kingdra close?
It wasn't bad, but it certainly wasn't meta.
Right.
Water Gun
True.
or Dragon Breath. Better moves.
Fair enough.
Actually, Dragon Breath is just far and away better than
All
Water
right,
Gun.
so speaking of Bite, Gods, what do you think? Is Bite the better moveset on Drapion in this meta?
It seems that way. If you compare Infestation Drapion to Bite Drapion just does better at what you want it to do. The only hard counter that I've seen in a core meta is Wigglytuff and Ozzy.
I just feel like Drapion's
I was going to say Toxicroak too.
Drapion's
that's kind of like the elephant
moves,
world.
being Aqua Tail, you want to dish them out as fast as possible, right?
Not necessarily. The thing about his charge moves is they suck DPE wise. Like Crunch is decent, but Aqua Tail has no DPE, especially non-stab, non-super effective.
Mm-hmm.
You're just tacking on damage, and that's where Bite works out so well. We're over Infestation. Sure, Infestation charges it faster, but to charge a terrible fast move faster doesn't make you better. Bite gets there, and suddenly the lower DPE from Aqua Tail or Crunch, that's threatening.
Right, because it's just tacking onto that Bite damage. It's a similar thing to why Razor Leafers like to have Leaf Blade, right? It's a similar idea of you're just using that Aqua Tail or Crunch as extra damage on top of that Bite. And I think the other thing too is that Infestation isn't really doing Drapion a ton of favors in this meta Like
No, there's not a whole lot of super.
there's no shift tree that's double weak to it, and there's less popular darks, and there's quite a few fairies running around that resist infestation.
Yeah.
So
Fairy and poison.
Yeah.
Like, the entire meta is poison or
Even-
fairy.
Even
I don't think there's a single Metamon that isn't poison or fairy.
Well, Umbreon and T-Tar.
Except
Umbreon and T-Tar.
Umbreon, T-Tar. Yep, or Alolan Raticate. But
Wait.
they kind of
You're
seem like
saying
bad T-Tars
there's
at
not a
this point.
single Metamon that isn't poison or fairy?
Besides
There's two.
T-Tar.
Umbreon and Tyranitar.
I mean,
Everything else is poison or fairy.
Crosslass?
us, yeah.
Ghost.
But
But that's still
yeah,
resist
Ghost
bug.
resist
so,
bug. Yeah.
Yeah, so the only two that don't resist bug are Umbreon and Tyranitar, which Bite loses to Umbreon, I think. Yeah, Bite Drapion loses to Umbreon and loses to T-Tar. So,
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, those are matchups you're losing, but it seems like Bite makes some of your other matchups a lot cleaner.
oh, definitely. And the thing is, Infestation, you have to pack Sludge Bomb over Aquatail, just because you need. If you're going to go Infestation route, you need to be able to KO Umbreon,
That was actually
and you just need the harder hitting move.
that was something that I was wondering because I was using Bite Drapion yesterday and it was kind of fun to use. I really like how it slaughters Frostlass. Like that's pretty fun.
yeah,
But
Frostlass,
yeah.
Haunter, Venomoth.
Venomoth? Oh yeah, Venomoth. Yeah,
Well, in Golbat
Yeah, it just
too,
chews
right?
through Venomoth.
Golbat too, right?
beats Golbat.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, actually, those three are just bright green on the spreadsheet. They just they
it's
die.
like honestly seeing Frostlass
seconds.
go down that quickly is pretty cool. But I was thinking because I have right now Crunch and Aquatail, but so is there actually like I don't know, like I haven't really looked into it besides playing a bit yesterday. But is there like matchups that you need Crunch for? Because I was thinking like Sludge Bomb wouldn't even be terrible to have as kind of just like a Hail Mary to a Fairy or a Azumarill or something, just as kind of like a.
I'm guessing you might want Crunch for Tentacruel, but I haven't simmed it.
Probably, yeah, the water
That's
poisons that you can't hit neutrally with Bite or Aquatail. But tell you what, I will run the sims real quick on just Crunch and just Sludge Bomb and just Aquatail to see what the difference is for Bite.
I think that Drapion still loses to Quillfish with Crunch, but maybe it worsens it. Yeah, probably worsens it.
It's very close with Bite or Crunch Aquatail. Like, it's really close.
But yeah, so that's kind of an interesting thing, though, is that it seems like Drapion in this meta is a better running Bite. And then as a result, Drapion's matchups tend to be more similar to like the pure darks, like Umbreon and T-Tar, than it is to the dark poisons, which, is kind of interesting when people are, like making infographics and stuff. Because, the inclination is to put Drapion along in the same group with Skuntank and Alolan Muck. But it definitely seems like, in terms of a graphic with, like, the relationships, that it's more comparable to T-Tar and Umbreon.
Yeah, I remember last Twilight too, like, Drapion wasn't really considered past, like, once you started looking at Skunk and Muck. And for the most part, I think last time it was Skunk. Drapion was a significant level below. And I think that this time it just got worse with Charm. So, yeah, I think the only way that you can really run Drapion is Bite.
Well, the thing the last time...
The big reason you would run Drapion... Hold on one second. Like, you want Drapion over Umbreon or Tyranitar because of Venusaur.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So if you're worried about...
Yeah, Bite Drapion beats Venusaur.
What about the Victreebel matchup?
I would assume it still wins that one because Victreebel is not defensive at all.
And
Let's
Bite should just shred through.
look that up.
isn't getting that much damage, right? I wouldn't assume.
It wins
Razor
all
Leaf can be
shields.
neutral. Yeah. There
Okay,
you go.
yeah. So that's kind of
So you definitely want.
that's the big selling point, I guess, of Drapion over the T-Tar and Umbreon is that grass matchup.
But
Yeah.
Otherwise, Tyranitar and Drapion are almost identical, but Tyranitar does better versus a lot of off-meta mons,
and
stuff that you might not see.
And what?
Tyranitar beats Drape.
Yeah.
Yep. Beats Drape, it beats Skuntank, it beats Alolan Muck.
And T-Tar beats Umbreon, right?
Yeah.
T-Tar's,
Yes, because Umbreon doesn't have a stab move to do
I
anything
really
with it.
wish that I had a Tyranitar.
Tyranitar's matchup against Alolan Muck is not really a sure thing, though, right? Because
Looks like it's a pretty solid one. According
when
to
I
the
looked
set.
it
I can
up
run it
with Dark Pulse, Sludge Wave, and I'm doing Smackdown, Stone Edge, Crunch, and I just dumped that in.
Wait, were you running Poison Jab on Muck?
Yeah, I guess it defaulted. Maybe it defaulted to Snarl. Now, when I'm running it, it seems like it's pretty clear. But I'm wondering why.
I think maybe Snarl made that matchup closer.
Okay.
It's a 5 HP win for Tyranitar because it takes the second Dark Blade.
Yeah.
I imagine you might be able to speed that up by no, because that charge move comes out too fast.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty solid win because T-Tar ends with almost a full Stone Edge charged up, and it wins with 9 HP.
Yeah, so you can just unload that on whatever comes in next.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I was gonna say I've done.
I might have just been slow to switch or something, because then I simmed it and I might have just got wrong information.
Yeah, I've done some scrims with T-Tar and like,
Ivy.
and in some cases,
there is an Ivy for SmackDown.
Smackdown, Stone Edge, Crunch. That's what I used.
Yeah, no, Gots was saying there's an IV thing there, I guess, with like a breakpoint or something.
Maybe.
Yep.
It's
not a hard one.
So is there
34 attack.
Any validity to if there's
probably not.
If it's if Drapion with Bite is usable, because Snarl's a better move. And
Snarl's a better energy move, but not a better
Dark
damage
Pulse, which is essentially Crunch. I guess you lose Aqua Tail, but
I think there's some validity, but the thing is that it seems like the ghost types are on the downtick, while the fairies are on the uptick. So if you
still beat Azu, depending on Azu's IVs, I think. But I don't know. It kind of seems like it's almost identical between Snarl and Poison Jab, but you lose the fairies completely. You have no recourse.
Yeah, you're pretty screwed against charm users now, because you're dealing resisted Snarl while they're hitting you for neutral charm that hits like a truck.
Yeah.
And you don't get time for a second charge move ever.
Yeah.
Versus charm.
Yeah, I didn't mean like instead of like I was saying more just as kind of the same thing as Drapion, like a dark. It would just be like a mono dark type.
No, it doesn't look like it because you don't beat the other dark poisons like Drapion can with Bite.
Wait, Drapion beats the other dark poisons with Bite?
Yeah.
Yeah, it beats Alolan Muck. Not like great, but it does, and then it ties Skuntank.
Okay.
And that's Aqua Tail, Bite Aqua Tail?
Yes.
Yeah.
Crunch Aqua Tail. But I assume it's probably just Bite Aqua Tail.
Yeah, there's no reason you'd be using Crunch when you have Aqua Tail.
Right.
For those matchups.
Yeah, in that fight, definitely.
So definitely not able to.
Yeah, you lose just Crunch.
I don't think we're going to be able to remove one of the dark poisons because it's just such interesting coverage in this particular meta. I think they're all going to be in their own respects viable.
And then T-Tar seems pretty safe on the graphic too. It has pretty good coverage.
Yeah.
With Smackdown is hitting almost everything in the meta for neutral. So unless it's getting just absolutely murdered by like Toxicroak or a Charm user, it's actually pretty decent. And something I didn't realize until I simmed it out is that Tyranitar and even shields, I think even the Zero Shield tends to beat Tentacruel, which you wouldn't have guessed because you'd think, oh, Tentacruel has Hydro Pump, it's going to beat T-Tar, but T-Tar tends to win that.
Yeah, it's because Hydro Pump is so slow.
Really? I wouldn't have guessed
Yeah,
that.
you can't get to a second.
Hydro Pump is slow?
Where's our head knowledge?
Yeah. We can't really do emotes on a
On a
podcast,
stream.
but
Or on a podcast, yeah.
yeah.
What else did you guys bring me here for but the wise wisdom
Well, to bash you, of course, and
oh.
yeah, that's the main reason. Welcome.
All right, so what about what do you guys think about Umbreon?
Man, I really want to put Umbreon on chopping block, but it is so bulky.
I like it.
It is so bulky.
It's the nice thing about Umbreon is if you're afraid of Moth, Umbreon is a better choice than T-Tar.
Right, because T-Tar has to shield the Silverwind or it dies.
Yeah, it just dies. So it's a complete one-hit KO. Doesn't matter about IVs. You can't fix that fight.
Right, but
the worst Moth beats the best T-Tar.
Yeah, that Silverwind is so awesome when it happens because it's a pretty hard situation to be in to get those smackdowns in as a Venomoth user, and then you get that you slip that Silverwind in, and it just nukes it. Or you get the Poison Fang, and it gets the shield bait most of the time.
Right, but you usually don't have time to get a second one unless you just farm to Toxicroak or a Haunter or something.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean that is something nice about Venomoth is if you swap in Venomoth and they counter switch to T-Tar, you're gonna force a shield or get a KO.
Every time. That's why I dropped T-Tar the first time around. Is because Bella kept kicking the crap out of me with Venomoth. So I had to switch to Umbreon.
So what besides that Silverwind situation, what does Umbreon bring to the table over T-Tar or Bite Drapion?
Oh, nothing.
You said nothing?
Nothing. Yeah, there's not a whole lot Umbreon does better than any other Bite or Tyranitar.
So
maybe Quillfish?
It's really underwhelming. I don't know if it does beat Quillfish. I think it probably does.
I want to say Umbreon wins that, but I'm not 100% sure.
So it seems like
yes, Umbreon does win that one pretty easily. So I guess if you're scared of Quillfish,
you go Umbreon.
Umbreon's a better pick.
Right, but otherwise, It seems like even if you didn't have a SmackDown T-Tar, you'd probably be better off going with Drapion.
Yep, unless you're just terrified of Quillfish.
Right, but Drapion can tank a Silverwind or no?
I would imagine. Drapion's pretty bulky. I think Drapion is actually one of the best Moth counters for Umbreon because it's just taking neutral.
Yeah, I was going to say this should be okay. It's a good question, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is on the bulkier side, and you're right. It's taking neutral from Silverwind as opposed to Umbreon is weak to it. So
Silverwind does 50 damage. So.
Right, and Bite's hitting harder than Snarl's going to be hitting too, so you can kind of just chunk down Venomoth with your fast move for the most part.
Yeah, have a charge move ready to go for the next matchup if you're within knockout range. Just shield whatever comes.
Yeah, so I don't know. It seems to me like we said, unless you're deathly afraid of Quillfish for some reason, that Drapion is going to be the better pick than Umbreon. Because it has pretty similar coverage, and like we said, it also gets that grass matchup that Umbreon doesn't.
I really like metas that have some legacies, but they're not so dominant that they're irreplaceable. Like Venomoth, for example. Obviously, that Poison Fang comes in clutch, but it's not like you can It's not like you have to run a Venomoth, right?
Well,
You
you can
got-
run non-legacy Venomoth just fine,
Oh,
actually.
yeah, that's the
Gotta
other
cover
thing.
the
Yeah,
fairies.
yeah, because non-legacy Venomoth does a pretty good job, and I mean, we talked about this in another podcast, but you don't have to double move it, but if you did have that psychic, you might be able to slip that in unshielded in some matchups, because people aren't really going to be expecting that psychic, and they're going to be like, oh, my Tentacruel, or oh, my Golbat can tank whatever charge move you have, and then you
Right.
just nuke it with a psychic.
Mm-hmm. It only works once, but when it does, it's pretty awesome.
If
And
it's
I
game
mean-
2 and you get one game 1, that's all you need.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it only works once, but I mean, you're only playing someone for 3 games, and so
Right.
if you can flip the tide in one of those games, that can be enough.
Wink, wink.
Just like Obama.
Double poison charge move, Quillfish.
But yeah, so you have the Legacy Venomoth, but non-Legacy Venomoth is also quite viable, and then you have Dustox and Golbat that all seem to be
I would
pretty
not
viable.
take Dustox.
Why?
I would take Golbat over Dustox, or non-legacy Venomoth over Dustox.
Why?
The level 40 dust cost is not getting you the results it should. Like,
Okay,
there's
but
too many
if
ties,
you-
there's too many losses.
If
Okay,
dust
but like,
didn't matter
what
to
if you were one of these people that had like 5 or 10 million dust?
I mean, if you want to dust flex on somebody, sure. Go ahead and
No,
power
but-
up that Shadow Golbat.
No, but I'm saying, like, let's say you have like 20 million dust, but you're going for performance and not dust flex.
Oh, Golbat still, completely. Or non-legacy Venomoth.
What is
Dustox just looks terrible.
Interesting.
Non-legacy Venomoth gets Nidoqueen, which hasn't been talked about much, but Dustox ties that fight. Non-legacy Venomoth can tie other Venomoths. Dustox loses to Poison Fang. Non-legacy
I
Venomoth,
thought Dustox tied Venomoth.
without Poison Fang, it does. With Poison
Oh.
Fang, Venomoth can win.
Huh.
Because it's tacking on that extra damage.
But what if Dustox just goes for straight confusion and doesn't use a charge move?
Probably, I don't know, I'll sim it real quick, but I don't have high hopes. Dustox has no damage. That's the problem with it. Its
Right, 'cause
attack is
it's
much
on the
lower than
right because
Venomoth.
it's on the bulkier side, and so it's not doing as much with
way
your confusion.
I'll give it that much.
I mean, the big thing though that Dustox does get over Venomoth and Golbat is it gets that Azu matchup.
Straight confusion, Dustox can win with 3 hit points if it's perfect.
Wow. If it's
Even Hammer
perfect.
Fire is bad. Beating Izu isn't nothing.
Let's see.
What was that?
Let me do 12 attack and see if that does it still.
He was talking about Azu. How beating
Yeah,
Azu.
I couldn't hear what Noah said.
Oh, I just said, like, beating Izu isn't nothing. Like, if that's the one thing that separates them, it's not nothing.
Yeah, because Azu seems like it's gonna be pretty popular this time around.
Yeah, it was
It doesn't even do that hard versus. It doesn't do that good versus Azu though. Like it's actually a tie or a loss to Azu
Really? I
according to
thought it.
default sims.
Huh.
I mean, it might do better versus max product Azu, but versus default Azu, it ties or loses.
Dang.
Interesting.
Yeah, Azu actually beats default Dustox in the default Sims.
Interesting.
Yeah. It might be a bubble break point there. No, that's even taking 8 damage from confusion.
Huh.
It looks like a bulkier Azu. Let me do max product Azu. Still taking 8 damage. So
All right, and then I know like early Twilight last time there was some talk about a Crobat, but Crobat's just strictly worse, right?
it's way bad. Air Slash is not the move you want. And Crobat's charge moves are very slow compared to
to go with that. Yeah.
All right, guys, I gotta head out. Do my
All right.
Canadian duty and play some hockey. So.
Good luck.
We'll just continue bashing you while you're not here.
Okay, good. That's what I like to hate.
Awesome.
Hockey
Just do it
good?
behind my back when I can't. That way I don't.
Hockey 5 steroids.
Pock,
Yeah.
good? Useful? Needs fire.
5.5 steroids.
Super strong.
He's gonna
Very
take
good.
out all the anger that he has on us. He's just gonna take it out, just whacking some poor person on the other team.
If that's the way to do it, that's the way to do it.
That's how Canadians are so nice, is they take all their anger out on the hockey rink.
They just beat the crap out of each other
Yeah.
once a week, and they're like, okay, we're good.
Honestly, it's true though. You go to beer.
They're like the Irish and beat people up in bars.
Yep.
No one should care. It's beer league, but there's at least a fight every single game. It's ridiculous.
Nice.
Anyways, I'll see you
All right.
guys.
All right, you have a good one, Nick.
Take care.
See ya.
See you guys.
All right. So another one I was wanting to talk about, Guts, is the trade-offs between Quillfish and Tentacruel. I mean, I know obviously like Tentacruel is better like early game because it's spammier, and Quillfish is better early game and Tentacruel is better late game. But like, what are some of the other matchup differences between them?
Let me put them side by side, and I can tell you a little better. Obviously, Zero Shields Tentacruel is going to be king. Quillfish doesn't have the damage output; it needs shields.
Right, and like 2 shields, it's going to be the opposite.
Right, Quillfish is actually a really good 2-shielder, although not impenetrable, like some people try to say it is.
Yeah.
Some people. Wow. Who? Let's get some shots fired.
I won't name names.
You won't?
I do remember from last Twilight, somebody just, like, I actually don't remember. It's just somebody constantly just like, Quillfish, best lead in the game. It's like, bro, Venomoth exists.
Right.
Try it. So, Tentacruel does better. It's actually a win in shielded situations versus Quillfish that lose.
Wait, say that again?
I think he said Quillfish does better against the dark poisons.
Okay.
That's like one of the big differences.
And then Cruel does better against the charm users, though, right?
Yeah. That poison jab racks up.
Yeah, because I think I remember seeing a sim that was showing, I think you were showing this, AJ, that Quillfish running like Water Gun, Aqua Tail, Sludge Wave loses to the charm users.
Well, I wouldn't.
If it doesn't bait. If you try to go for Sludge Wave and it gets blocked,
Right.
you will lose.
Okay, but if you bait and then land the Sludge Wave, you still can win.
Yeah, if you land a Sludge Wave, it's an
Okay.
instant kill.
Right.
Like, they're not coming
Right,
back.
but that's still like less solid than Tentacruel, who's so bulky.
Yeah, Tentacle just
Yeah,
poison
Tentacruel's
jabs.
so bulky it just like tanks the charms and just poison jabs them down.
And Tentacle has the much better Azumarill
Right.
matchup. Shielded and unshielded. Completely. Quillfish has to land the bait to get a solid win.
The interesting thing though is I was looking, and if Quill is running Acid Spray, then it does a little better against the charm users, because that Acid Spray allows your Aqua Tail afterwards to hit harder. As well.
Yeah. They don't have a whole lot of bulk.
Yeah.
Like, it's pseudo bulk. It's the fairy typing and a bunch of HP, typically.
Right.
The big matchup that Quillfish loses is Frostlass and Golbat, typically.
Okay.
Well, not loses. Quillfish can win the Golbat. Tentacruel always loses Golbat.
Right.
Tentacruel can win the Frostlass. Quillfish always loses the Frostlass fight.
Okay.
I shouldn't say always, but from a 0-0
Right.
lead, Quillfish has no hope. Whereas if Bat tries to bait improperly, So if it gets the Shadow Ball shielded, Quillfish just barely beats it. Whereas Tentacruel has no chance. It gets double Shadow Balled every time.
Okay, so
But it dies with full energy, so it might have enough time to get a second Hydro Pump off if you have a little bit of fun.
How many turn move is Poison Jab?
Poison Jab?
It's like a mid-range one.
Okay, so that's something that like maybe you could undertap then.
If it's a faster move on your opponent,
turns.
yeah, you can easily undertap.
2 turns. As opposed to Water Gun being 1.
Right, because you
It's
can't...
the same as counter.
Okay, yeah, so because you can't undertap on a 1-turn move, but
Correct.
as long as it's not a 1-turn move, then you might have the chance to undertap if you're dying with the full charge kind of thing.
And typically undertapping, if your fast move is faster than your opponent, ends up failing a lot too, I've noticed.
Interesting, okay.
So like Poison Jab versus Bubble, where Bubble is so slow compared to Poison Jab, if I try to undertap there, oftentimes I eat an extra bubble.
Okay, gotcha.
So let me...
Because you can get a Poison Jab off between bubbles.
So I got a question for you guys, not necessarily related to the Quillfish and Tentacruel discussion, but like of the ghost types, it definitely seems like Haunter and Frostless have their independent positive matchups, and they're both good in their own respects. But is it worth dropping Sableye from the meta discussion? I mean, it just seems like it doesn't do anything that other things don't pick up anyway.
Yeah, I mean, all it really does is beat the ghosts, and I guess the main... So it beats, like, the other ghosts. I believe it beats, like, Venomoth and Golbat. But, I mean, all of those things are the same thing that any other Dark could do. I mean, I think the only thing that distinguishes it from any other Dark is just the Toxicroak matchup. But it seems like the other Darks pick up some other interesting matchups.
Yeah, Sableye's biggest key to victory is being a ghost type that does what every other ghost type does while beating every other ghost type. So the thing is here, like, ghost types aren't that threatening because Frostless and Haunter are countered so easily by other targets that you don't really need that ghost that beats all other ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it doesn't even pick up the full coverage of the other ghosts either, I don't think, in this meta.
No, it doesn't.
And then obviously it gets just shredded by charm users.
It doesn't lose a whole lot to anything but charm. Sableye can beat Azu in the 2 shield. It can beat Golbat.
Can it beat T-Tar?
Loses a K. It gets close.
To which?
Actually, it gets really close.
T-Tar.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the only thing that hard counters Sableye is charm.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Then the next thing that basically beats T-Tar up is Azumarill and Umbreon.
Yeah, I mean...
Umbreon can't be 2-shielded. Azumarill can.
It definitely loses to T-Tar, but yeah, I can see what you guys are saying. It's like a 426, 422 score on PV Poke.
Well,
yeah, it's not
I'm assuming the Sableye versus Umbreon match isn't too pretty either.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy win for Umbreon because Snarl is dealing neutral damage the entire time, and Shadow Claw is dealing resistant damage. And then the best charge move Sableye has is Foul Play, which is resisted.
Yeah, so it has to go for Power Gem, basically.
Yeah, the best matchup for Sableye is in the 1 shield, and that's when Umbreon wins by 33 HP. So pretty solid win from Umbreon.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Sableye is like something to like be aware of when you're making your team, but I don't know if it's that big of a threat per se. Like, I don't know what you think, Gots, but
I probably wouldn't make my entire team weak to Sableye.
Yeah, I don't know what you think, Gots, but like I feel like it would be safe to drop Sableye from the graphic, but include it as like an honorable mention in the write-up kind of a thing. Does that seem fair?
The problem with Sableye is like I said, it's just that It's the ghost that beats all other ghosts. And that role isn't critical here. Because the ghosts aren't that strong. Like, Haunter has fallen from grace. Like, it's still good. But it's nowhere near the overpowering, just, A, people have had to play around it, and B, Charm showed up, and we've kind of explored the other darks more.
Well, and the other thing, too, is that Frostlass has fallen from grace a little bit, too. Like, Frostlass...
I didn't think Frostlass was that strong the first time around, and it's actually gotten more popular.
I don't know.
Frostlass was
I love Frostlass.
Yeah, Frostlass was my MVP in the first Twilight. I swept my... Twilight was like my first actual rank cup, and I swept it with Frostlass. Because the thing was, the first time around, a lot of people were running a Skuntank, Toxicroak, Golbat, or Skuntank, Toxicroak, Venomoth core, and they were running that 3 in like 90% of their matches, and Frostlass is able to beat all 4 of those mods. And so that was what made Frostlass really good. But
I still don't think Frostlass is bad. Like, I definitely would advertise people using Frostlass.
Oh, no, definitely. I think it's still like a good choice.
It wins a lot of matches.
But it's not as good as it was. Because those 4 used to be like super popular. And it could beat those. And also it had a little bit of a surprise factor where a lot of people weren't familiar with it. Because it was pretty new. And so some of my opponents, I don't think, had ever even scrimmed against it. And they were caught off guard by how fast those avalanches and shadow balls come out. And they just weren't ready for it.
Oh, that's true. Frostlass just dropped during Twilight.
Yeah, it dropped like
mid-month.
a week or 2 in. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that now. Like, it wasn't legal to start, and then it came out and kind of got... But I don't remember it having, like, that much breakout success. I think it was just a fan favorite for some people.
I don't know. I'd never played the gen that Frostlass was in, and I enjoyed quite some good success with it. But again, that was like the first time around, because Toxicroak was really, really popular, and I've seen a lot more non-Toxicroak lineups. Not out of the 6, but like out of the 3. I've seen a lot less Toxicroak in play in favor for other coverage.
Well, also, I've seen a lot more Toxicroak or non-Toxicroak teams in the 6, whereas the first time around, basically everyone who had like an even or winning record was running Toxicroak, and I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. I've spoken with a few top players. Not going to name names just because I don't know if they want that like info of what they're thinking to get out. But I've talked to like a few top players who are talking about not running Toxicroak.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've thought about dropping Croak as well, and picking a different line because of how, what Croak counters right now is the Darks and Venusaur. And I can get that with Drapion or Tyranitar and not be weak to Golbat.
And Venomoth is the big one. Venomoth seems real popular right now. And so that being double weak to Venomoth and just getting shredded just isn't the best place to be in.
No, but it's not like Venomoth is keeping Toxicroak from play. That if that was the case, then it would never see play. Nightmare. It's just the coverage here for Toxicroak isn't as strong as it once was. There's a lot of new targets, and then the Charm. Charm menace really.
Well, because Charm kind of wrecks Toxicroak, and also Charm helps pick up that dart coverage that Toxicroak was there for. Because the Charm users just shred any pure darks, and even the poison darks don't really love taking a Charm.
I don't think a single poison dart can beat Charm, except Acid Spray Muck.
That's
But
like really IV
it's hard to
dependent,
say
right?
that's
A lot of the times that ends up as like a tie or a loss, right? Because Muck has really good IVs.
Yeah, I think you need to hit a poison jab break point to beat that. And you have to shield. That's the one nice thing, is if you don't shield the acid spray as a charm user, you will die. Like, you won't even come close to dying. So they have to shield everything coming out of that matchup. And they're never going to get to a charge move, so Muck, even if it's tying, is taking a shield, which is perfectly fine.
Right, but you have to tie for that to be worth it, because if you're narrowly losing, then that means they should have enough energy to unload a charge move on the next mon. And, unless the next mon is going to be a Tentacruel, it's either going to hit fairly hard or burn a shield.
Right. Yeah, you definitely want to win that matchup rather than lose that matchup. And there's probably defensive breakpoints for Charm, because Charm hits so hard. And there's definitely poison jab breakpoints for Alolan Muck versus Charm users. But versus default, Muck beats or ties every poison or Charm user.
But again, like we said, it's hard to get good IVs on a Muck because you have to trade and reroll it.
I know. I want one so bad. But unfortunately, nobody around my town collects just Grimers en masse.
Maybe your wife can start an account.
But you know what? She has, and she still won't. Like, she won't hatch eggs. Yelled at her. Like, not yelled at her.
You better yell at her. In your T-Tar voice.
I will. You know what? I will go yell at her right now.
Right now. What time is it? Is it 9:30 where you are? Perfect.
9:30.
Perfect timing.
She goes to work in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So I can just upset her from work, and she'll have a great night.
Just have her throw an adventure sink and hatch some eggs.
I mean,
she doesn't do enough.
Is an Alolan Muck worth a week in the doghouse? You decide.
I think so.
Man, I got an Alolan Muck like so early on that I forget that it is only available through trades. But yeah, it was kind of a pain to get people to trade me one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pain just to get people to hatch friendship eggs, because most people in my town just don't care so much. And there's only like 2 or 3 other people.
That's pretty much exclusively what I hatch. I don't hatch.
I don't know. I feel like
the 2 or the 5s.
A lot of the non-PvPers I know still hatch the 7K eggs because they want shiny babies.
My town's not that. Like, they want the shiny babies. They don't want to put the work in. So they hatch like a 7K egg a week.
Wow.
Like, I'm serious. We have people posting that they're like, "Oh my god, I got 48 kilometers this week. That's my best I've ever done." And I'm sitting over here on 80. Just like, guys, do you like not move?
Yeah, I almost never get to 50, so I can relate to your town people.
Same.
Being berated by you for basically doing all of your chores with your phone in your pocket.
I mean, some people's adventure syncs also don't work quite as well as other people's.
Oh, definitely. I work a job that I can have my phone out, so, and I have a gotcha going, so I don't even bother with adventure sync. I just let the gotcha do it.
Yeah.
Because the adventure sync is so broken.
It really is. It's not working as intended for sure.
No, definitely. We're a little off topic,
yeah,
though.
A little bit. I don't think we can axe grass types. I know Venusaur was, at least for Tristen and I, was quite a bit more popular last time around.
I want to, but Azu and Quill and Tentacruel and T-Tar are just so strong. Yeah. And that's your grass matchup right there. That's all they win.
Mm-hmm.
And they tie Frostlass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's enough.
Right. Well, and then they also...
Venusaur's matchup is
and then
red.
they pick up like the like Sableye and Umbreon too, but
not very well, but they do. Like Venusaur ties Sableye in default and beats Umbreon, but I'm not really worried about those because I have dark attackers.
What about Sludge Bomb?
It's nice to have the extra coverage.
And Acid Spray on Victory Bell.
We already talked about this.
But here, I talked about Quillfish.
All right, you old man who can't remember anything.
No, we talked about Victory
We
Bell
gotta repeat
too.
things.
But we talked about Victory Bell in Rainbow, in Jungle.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and you talked about it for Twilight.
I mean, sure, it has the same.
This is
yes,
recorded.
It has potential, like we talked about, but at the same time, I don't know. Well, I guess grass and poison are resisted by a lot of the same things here. So, yeah, I mean, I suppose it's got the same potential that it did in Jungle.
Yeah, I guess you kind of need those leaf blades though against certain matchups. I don't know.
That's my problem with Acid Spray on Victory Bell is it's more of a parting shot.
Sure.
Rather than like in the middle of the match. If Acid Spray was a 35 energy move and dropped defense by 1, I'd use it all the time. That'd be great. But being a 50 and dropping by 2, like the 2 is great, but that 50 energy is so restrictive for Razor.
Right.
Yeah.
That it's just hard to get there.
That's true. It was tongue in cheek. I figured I'd bring it up again, and you guys could crap all over the idea. And I hope you lose in your tournaments to a double charge poison Victory Bell.
I hope you lose in your tournament
to Ranger tier, so I doubt it.
What's that?
I hope you lose in your tournament to a double.
I'm not really interested
Victory Bell.
I'm not really interested in what you have to say, Tristan, but I think Gots was saying something important.
I play in Ranger tier, so I doubt we'll see such scrub mentality.
Oh man, my Ranger project has fallen by the wayside. These remote tournaments are too much of a slog for me. Yeah, the scheduling for all of them, and then with the anyway, that's that. I'm not gonna bore you guys on a podcast about that, but yeah. So
that's for
I agree on the grass types. They're kind of hanging on for dear life to the meta, but they're just not able to meet the chopping block.
Yeah, I look at it and I want to just not consider them, but then they have that matchup spread that Gots mentioned, and a lot of those mons seem pretty popular.
Yeah.
And Guts, the one you forgot to mention though is that the grasses beat the charm users too. I don't think you mentioned that one.
True.
So
I forgot about Wigglytugs.
Right, because they have that poison subtyping, so they're resisting charm while hitting back with Razor Leaf. Wait, how do Victory Bell and Venusaur do against Kiss though?
They win. I'm pretty sure they win.
Crap out of Kiss.
Even
unless Kiss is running
Air Slash.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it looks like Kiss can win if Venusaur doesn't land the slip.
Okay, but what about Victory Bell? Because that's like a slower resisted Razor Leaf.
Oh, Charm. It's just not going to get there.
Right.
You can double Sludge Bomb the entire time.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, no, Charm no bueno versus poison.
Right, so the grasses are basically picking up your Charm users, Azu, Quill, Tentacruel, T-Tar, and the Umbreon and Alolan Eradicate.
Right. And then Nidoqueen and Nidoking.
Yeah, the Toga.
I haven't seen a whole lot of talk about the King.
The Togekiss Victory Bell matchup is actually razor thin. In the 0 shields, and in the 1 shield, Togekiss edges out a win by 4 HP.
With Charm?
But that's Charm, Ancient Power, Aerial Ace.
Right.
Actually, it doesn't really matter what the charge move is. It's, because it gets blocked anyway, so...
Yeah, so they're both just slogging at each other with not very effective charge moves, or fast moves.
Correct. Yes.
Man, that's got to be a painful fight. That might be. I guess they're not that bulky though. But I was gonna say if you.
This is moderately bulky, but Victory Bell.
I was gonna say if you have that matchup and you have like an Azzy mirror and like an Umbreon mirror in the back, maybe you'd time out.
I've been talking to some people that want to try and run a stall team where they're using high bulk mons with very low cost charge moves to get that 5 seconds of charge time, and then they don't do any damage.
What? What
so
mons?
And then
Azumarill,
they go to
Tentacruel,
Yeah, what would you
and
be using?
Umbreon?
I think they were talking for like general or regionals. They're
I
talking
see.
like Chansey and
Oh god.
Snorlax and just the big bulk that they can just body slam and whatnot and just
God.
live.
That sounds terrible.
I hope they fail and they don't post their results. All right.
All right, Guts. So, are there any other grass types that are relevant, or is it basically just Venusaur and Victreebel? And I guess Ivysaur is a replacement Venusaur. Guts?
We might have temporarily lost Guts, but yeah,
Hello?
I don't. Hey, can you hear us?
Hey, I can.
Okay. Any other
Am I,
grass types?
Cutting in and out.
You're fine now. We just couldn't hear you at all.
Oh, fair enough. Gloom. I think Gloom has better attack than Victory Bell,
Okay.
but it doesn't have the charge moves like Victory Bell, i.e., Acid Spray or Razor or Leaf Blade or something.
Right, it
like
has
that.
really slow charge moves.
Yeah, Sludge Bomb, Moonblast, stuff like that. It's not good.
So is
that's all you'd run is Sludge Bomb and Blast. But I think it's the extra attack from Gloom compared to Victory Bell.
Right.
Lets him win a few other fights.
Is that something that like a legacy Razor Leaf Weepin Bell would also pick up then?
Actually, it looks like Victory Bell has a better attack than Gloom, so ignore me. I don't know why.
Weepin Bell is a
somewhat
bit
better.
bulkier than Victory Bell.
I thought Weepin
I
Bell
remember.
was more attack weighted.
Let's see. Max Sweeping Bell is 147. Victory Bell is bulkier. Weeping Bell is attack hit.
Yeah, because that
interesting.
was something we mentioned for, I think it was Jungle. Is that
For Vigoroth.
I think it was the Vigoroth matchup where Weepin Bell, since it's more attack weighted, I think can shred it down with Razor Leaf, like maybe before it gets to a second body slam or something like that.
Yeah, Weeping Bell could win no shields, I believe, and it was the only Mon other than Heracross that could do it from 0-0.
Right.
Or Vespiquen. I think Vespiquen can take it 0-0.
Yeah.
No shields as well.
Right, so I guess if you happen to be one of the lucky few that has a Razor Leaf Weepin Bell, that maybe that'll have
one.
some... Dang.
It's terrible.
But maybe it'll have a little bit of play.
I traded for it for Jungle Cup because of the matchup versus Vigoroth, and it went terrible. It didn't go lucky. I was really sad about that.
Yeah. So we are coming up on that hour and a half mark or close to it. So I normally we keep these a bit shorter, but we just kind of rambled on for a bit, so it's good.
Well, I mean, also the Twilight meta is just so intricate. There's a reason that
Yes.
I would say, and I think a lot of other people would agree that it's the best mirror cut meta there is because it's very well balanced. There's a lot of viable mons, and also it's not exactly the same as it was last time. Like it's similar, but now you have like the charm users in there, which is like mixing things up a little bit. So it's like somewhat changed. But yeah, it's very well balanced, and so there's a lot of mons to walk through.
Well,
You ask pretty much
Twilight,
anybody in Go Stadium gets a Pokeboner if you ask them about Twilight. right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Even like the people I talked to at CoFest when I went, Twilight was their favorite.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah,
a few people had secondaries, but like if you ask people their favorite, it's Twilight, and then we talk about everything else.
right. Yeah, and Twilight was definitely my favorite the first time around, and in my opinion, the meta is even more interesting this time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no cores. Like you saw Kingdom and Vigoroth and Jungle, and you saw the eventual core in Rainbow. There's nothing like that in Twilight.
Yeah,
You
so
don't
you're
have
gonna
any
see.
must pick.
Yeah, there's so many. You're gonna see so many like different teams. Like you'll see people with Toxic Crook, people without Toxic Crook, people with Azu, people without it, people with Tentacruel, people without it, people running Charm users or not. It seems
You're going
like
to see a little Eradicates and Umbreons. You're going to see Togekits. You're going to see Beedrills. These things that we've labeled as off meta, just because they don't perform
quite as well, but they're still relevant. Sure.
I mean, we're talking about like strong. A 60% win rate versus like a 45 or something, right? Or like a 50.
Definitely. Yeah. Like Umbreon versus T-Tar. The only reason Umbreon's an off meta is because the Venusaur matchup and the DPs. Yeah. Otherwise, it's virtually identical to Tyranitar. So if you can cover the dark poisons, you can bring Umbreon. You're not going to be hurt by it.
Right.
It's just this meta is so diverse.
Right, and so we're ruling things out like Sableye and Umbreon.
I don't think Beedrill will see play. I take that back. Beedrill's bad.
You don't? Oh, Beedrill.
Oh yeah, no, Beedrill's bad. It beats Toxicroak, Azu, Venusaur, and Wigglytuff. No.
It had some hype the first time around, but
because it beat Toxicroak, Azu, Venusaur.
Right.
And it wasn't terribly bad versus the DPs and whatnot. Like it ties Skuntank.
Right.
But there's just better options.
Right, but yeah, that's the thing is like some of these things that we're kind of ruling out from contention, like we're saying, Sableye is not quite going to cut it, or maybe Umbreon isn't as good, but they're not bad picks. We're just kind of ruling them out because they don't perform quite as well as other things that are available. But like you could certainly
slot in your team.
Yeah, but like you could certainly run with them and have success. It's just going to be a little harder, but it's still doable.
Twilight will be one in the team comp. Like how well you put your team together will determine how well you do in the tournament. Straight up. Like if you just throw 6 Pokemon on your team, you will probably lose.
Well, if you're throwing 6 Pokemon together, you're probably going to lose in other metas because you're just throwing things together, right?
But the thing is, like, the other metas, you had cores. So you just pick the core and you can toss in, like in Kingdom, you just pick the ball core, throw in 2 other Pokemon. If you just play ball core, you can still win.
Yeah. Like, Guts is right.
Else.
Fair enough.
Twilight, you don't have that legacy or that luxury.
Core. Yeah. And so you really have to think about exactly what.
Favorites.
Yeah, you got to think about what role each mon in your team is doing, and make sure you have sufficient coverage for the wide array of meta relevant mons.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, it's to an extent, it's a little bit similar to like freestyle, or regionals, where there's just so many viable mons, and you're not going to have amazing coverage for all of them, and you kind of have to just hope that you have like just enough.
So, Guts, out of this list that we've sort of been compiling for our infographic, which of these would you remove, if any? Because you might not remove any. Charm users, Wiggly, Clefable, Togekiss, Azumarill, Toxicroak, the water poisons, Tentacruel and Quillfish, the grasses, Venusaur and Victreebel, dark poisons, Skuntank and Alolan Muck, Toxicroak, and the charm counters with Venomoth, Golbat, and Dustox, Ghosts, Haunter, Frostlass, Sableye, Darks, T-Tar, Umbreon, Drapion, and that's it. That's the core meta that we're looking at right now.
That's pretty much my sheet. The only thing I have on it that you don't is Nidoqueen.
You would add Nidoqueen. Interesting.
I don't know. It looks interesting. Like I said, I just don't know how well it plays because it loses some very critical matchups.
Mm-hmm. That's how we felt about Nidoqueen.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting, and like I think, like in terms of what we're gonna do, it seems to me like it's suited for like an honorable mention spot, and not like a spot on the graphic itself.
Yeah, the biggest problem with Nidoqueen is it loses to Toxicroak, it loses to Azumarill, it loses to Haunter, it loses to Golbat, it loses to Venusaur, it loses to Venomoth, it loses to Quillfish, it loses to Frostlass.
Yeah, that's a lot right
heavy
there.
list.
Yeah.
But
Yikes.
you do well versus the Dark Poisons and Tyranitar and the Ghosts, except Frostlass and Haunter. You do well with... Nope, never mind.
And
you do terrible versus Sableye.
You beat Tentacruel, right?
Yes. Pretty easily, actually. Like, that's an easy win for Nidoqueen with Earth Power.
Might be time to flex the shine.
That was the big selling point of Nidoqueen last time, was that it was a closer that could beat Tentacruel.
Yep. But it needs Earthquake to beat it 0 shields. Earth Power doesn't get there.
Interesting.
But Earth Power makes it better in shielded situations. So
right. That makes sense.
It's kind of a toss-up. But, no, I mean, Nidoqueen's probably fringe. Maybe an honorable mention. But it's just not... Like, I want it to be good because I have a really nice high-rank Nidoqueen. But I also have a high-rank Tentacruel, so I'll just use that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least we're on on the right track. But Jesus, fitting all of these in a way that you could even. I mean, they end up being so small, like physically, the drawings. that
right.
It's the arrows are just out of control with this. I've seen some other proposals for infographics on this, and it is all over the place, you guys.
So yeah,
so
it's like super messy, and like. It hits a point where like there's not much you can do to help the messiness, just because there's so many viable mons and they all have intricate relationships with each other.
I think Twilight is the second biggest meta. The only one bigger was Rainbow that had 5 types.
Well,
Just
most metas had 4 types.
Right, but for Twilight, like, it's the biggest of the 4 type metas.
Okay.
And Rainbow just edges it out because it had 5 types.
Right.
So it just, by nature, it was slightly bigger. But
yeah.
It's definitely, because Twilight is easily 16 Pokemon strong.
Easily.
17. And everything else was 12. Like, I think Tempest was 12. And that was stretching it.
So Tristan's dog is telling
Kingdom
us
was
to
6 or 7.
I think Tristan's dog is telling us to basically wrap this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants attention.
He's done.
I don't know.
He's not interested in the Twilight meta.
It looks like there's no way to mute myself on here.
It's all good. Thank you so much, you guys, for jumping in. We'll do a live stream. We'll go in depth once the actual infographic is done. But yeah, it's been fun. I'm excited to see how this meta pans out next month. So.
Oh, definitely.
All right, finishing up, you guys. Hope you enjoyed the podcast, and we'll see you next time. Peace.